first live stream on the YouTubes, so you'll have to forgive me if this was a mess, because it probably is going to be. So what I have here is I have one of the one of the first premium miniatures that came out with the Monster Fight Club Storm Crow. And what I want to do is just build it. I'm a Smoke Jaguar player. The thing that made me happy about the Battle of Tukid book is that I'm going to shift this so that you guys can see what I'm working on, and yet I'm able to not have to clear the hell around this thing. So there we go. So, all right. So basically, they put out the Battle of Tukid book way back with the Clan Invasion Kickstarter. So what they did with that is they created some custom variants of the Timberwolf, the Adder, which they never made a premium miniature for, because who the hell Who the hell cares about an Adder? So there's that. But they also gave the Smoke Jaguars a really cool version of the Storm Crow. Is basically like a riff off of the Storm Crow B, which is the Ultra AC-20 version, and the 6 medium lasers strapped to its other arm. And said this one has 4 ER medium lasers, a targeting computer, and a Gauss rifle. Now, if you look at the record sheet for that one, you'll notice that the Gauss rifle component here, if I can get that to focus, the Gauss rifle component is actually on the wrong arm. It should be on this arm, and I guess you can do it like that and make it look goofy, but then what are you going to do? What are you going to do with this arm? So what I'm going to do, what I did first, before I did anything, especially with these premium, air quotes, miniatures, because they've just been having a devil of a time with these things, is I went through and I gave this guy a thorough wash in like dishwash soap. So like I actually took, so he's got a little bit of I don't know if you can see that, he's got a little bit of a nub. This is actually a pretty clean sculpt for what it is. Not a lot of mold lines and whatnot. So take that off with the emery board here, my nail file that I have. There we go, like new. Oh, we got 2 people. We got 1 person. Yay, 1 person. All right. So the configuration I'm going to do, the other thing about this blister is that it actually has the UAC 20 and the Ultra AC-20 and the 6 ER medium laser arms for the standard C build. Now the only thing, it's at the hip assembly. I believe the little square armor panel doodad goes towards the rear. So we got a few leg options. We've got, one kind of standing pose, and then where one is kind of like one leg is up, one leg is up, one leg is down. I think I'm going to do this one because I think that's going to be most fun. So I'm basically going to take the foot, sanding stick of mine, basically sand it smooth. So that, ta-da! So, welcome chatters, welcome guys. I am building a Monster Fight Club / Catalyst Game Labs Stormcrow. So hopefully, this one's got a pretty big, gnarly mold cliff on it. So Exacto. Just kind of scrapety scrape, scrape, scrape. The good thing about this kind of the Siocast material that they made the miniatures out of, it's prone to a lot of flaws, kind of like resin. In a lot of ways, it's very derivative of resin, where you can get some bubbles, you can get some incomplete molds, you can get stuff like that. But also, when you get a clean shot of it like this, it's actually really, really quite beautiful. So I got that, and the important thing is to make sure that that's level. So we'll get the old Gorilla Glue. This stuff does not take standard plastic glue. This does take Gorilla Glue. So hopefully I don't have to clear this with anything odd or unusual. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right. I like Gorilla Glue because this bottle has lasted forever. And then again, I don't. My life has been complete chaos, which is why I don't post as probably as regularly as I should. What was the leg I was working on? This is the leg I was working on. Effectively, in the last year and a half, I got divorced. I got separated, or we separated, divorced, got my house back. Kids are doing great. I'm doing great. She's doing great. Everybody's doing great. So it's been kind of a wild ride, and so like um, I'm finally in a place where like things are kind of normal now. So that's kind of neat. So we got that, and it looks like that looks about even. So I want to. All right. I feel like this is going to need some more sanding because it's kind of cockeyed or whopper jawed. So there we go. There we go. That should nice and even. Yeah, close enough for government work. I'm going to set him kind of far-ish back on the base because I think that's he needs the extra real estate just for so there's actually a mold line running across the foot. Normally I wouldn't screw with something like this, but since it's actually picked up off the ground, I want to make sure that it's actually dressed so that you know the tisms in me they stay at bay. All right, and then got this part right here. Shave that down. How's everybody doing? Is that hot enough for you? Jesus, it's been like in the 80s and 90s here. It's ridiculous. All right, so kind of it's kind of got the chicken walker vibe going on. So I like that. I like that a lot. Okay. Okay, and if we do that move, see, it's like his toe is higher than the rest of the base. So I'm trying to figure out, like, if I give him a little jaunty angle, if that just makes him look crooked, or if I try to do it more square on. I've got the super glue, so the super glue will make sure I can do whatever I want to do. So, but hmm. Let's see. Let's clean this. Let's punt and let's contemplate this. Yeah. So, and again, if anybody's watching, if I get above 12 concurrent viewers, I'm going to have more people watching my live stream than the average Catalyst Games Day News Day, which I don't know what that says about them, but it certainly says a lot about you guys if you're willing to watch this. So, all right. So I think I know what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna go boop, boop. The other thing about this material is it takes glue weirdly well. It just kind of like, just like bam, just kind of zaps down. So you kind of, yeah, that mug, that John ain't going nowhere. So you can kind of see he's trying to get his hips lined up with the front. So there's that. Then we're gonna clean this bad boy off. It's really, ooh, as soon as I say, "Oh, it's not that bad," it's like, no, no, it actually is. So this stuff kind of behaves weirdly because it doesn't really cut. It like you have to like shave it. It's like you're shaving parts off of the miniature. So you have that, and then actually no mold lines around the lasers. I'm actually pretty impressed by that. It's just kind of that weird, this weird rough textured part like right here. So there we go. All right, so we got the torso, we got this arm cleaned up, and now for the I call this the big medicine, the UAC 20. I love this version of the Stormcrow because it is 60% of the time it works 100% of the time. So so we got the torso is sitting kind of high. I feel like it shouldn't. I mean, it gives you some posability, but I feel like you should file this. Oh, damn. All right, well, so we'll file this flush, I guess. Yeah, it's taking forever. The violence will escalate. There we go. We'll get some nice metal one here that I probably should be like wearing a mask or something when doing this, but whatever whatever resin dust or whatever tries to get in my lungs, it better ready itself for a fight for all the other occupants and that I've got going on. So all right. Kind of it's still something's bothering me. I gotta check this before I do something. I may have already done something stupid, so I do quite a bit of stupid shit, stupid stuff. Excuse me, trying to keep it PG for the kids. Nope, that's the storm crow. Where's the storm crow? Ah, here's the storm crow. Oh no, I did do that right. Okay, I was worried that the little X panel on the booty of the storm crow was supposed to be a different orientation. I thought it was supposed to be a forward orientation, but it looks like the vents in the front of the groin area, if you will, or kind of the lower torso, the hip assembly. That's actually correct per the actual CDL miniature. So what I'm going to do, see, this is what I'm kind of talking about. So it doesn't necessarily file, but it shaves. It's almost like you're cutting. No, I'm doing everything wrong here. I'm cutting towards myself like a psychopath. So don't do that. So okay. So we can kind of do that move. Yeah. Oh, all right. Whoop. Oh boy. Whew. Point man, nice. Yeah, I don't. I think camo specs. They have a great. They used to do. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to do like they called it the April Fool's Brigade. So they would just have crazy wacky stuff like they had an Axeman and then like a Blue Flame. It's a Werder Blake quad mech called a Blue Flame, and the Blue Flame was painted blue, and the Axeman was painted like a lumberjack, and it was Babe and his Blue Ox. And then there was a Devastator, a 100-ton Devastator miniature, and it was actually painted as Devastator from Transformers. So, ooh, okay. So I could either let me plug the big boy in here because this is kind of that one's kind of doing its thing. All right. Oh yeah. That what's funny is they actually canonized that, and I think they called him like El Guapo or something. It was some randomness that they included in like one of the TROs as like a famous pilot, and it's like that's an odd series of choices to make. But then again, BattleTech has always been more or less those odd choices to make. So this is actually shaping up really good. I'm really chuffed with this. Um, Now the only thing, do you want to do? Do I do it kind of like he's running, or do I do like I'm gonna give you 6 barrels? I kind of like the I kind of like that. I feel like that's going to be that gives him a much more dynamic look, like he's actually like running towards something. So there's that. There we go. All right. So, yeah, there we go. That's the other thing about this. So this whatever this material is, plus the super glue, really locks in. Like it's like, and the other thing, like I said, that helps. Ooh, I got a mold line there on the foot, on the ankle. So one of the things I noticed about the this material is it doesn't necessarily see. I'm filing it, and it's kind of getting some headway, but it's like if you're really going to clean it up, you have to almost like shave off the detail. So you're kind of like that, and then kind of back scrape it to. So yeah, that was a Stormcrow B. That's actually Stone Cold Killer looking. I like that. I like that a lot. It's too bad that the arms of the TC are still are inverted. They should be because they're like this on the model in the out of the pack. At least the pack that I got. I don't know if they corrected this. They probably haven't. But the gun configuration should be like this. So the Gauss rifle should be on that left side, and the arm should be on the right. But of course, for some reason, the record sheet has it inverted. So I've got a pair of spare legs for like terrain, or decorate it in a piece of chaff. So all in all, this was like I said, this was you done miss gluing your fingers to the old metal minis. Yeah, yeah, that's the good old days of being a teenager and having a part-time job, and you go to the local hobby shop, you get a couple of blisters of mechs, and you spend the next couple of hours huffing CA glue and making sure you have no fingerprints like you're like that scene from Men in Black. So yeah. Oh, we're spent about 20 minutes on that. That's cool. So yeah, all right, neat. So we'll let the star of the show dry. Basically, what I did, I don't know if I said this at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if there was anybody there when I said it, but what I did to make sure that these guys, this was going to stick together well, is he was actually going to take paint, is that I went and I hit him with some dish soap, just some like standard like Dawn just dish soap, and I just scrubbed him really well with an old like this old brush from Citadel. I think it was from that. Remember when Citadel Games Workshop created a line of miniatures so terrible they had to create tools just so you could work with their terrible material. I still have this from their old Finecast days. So yeah, so that's what I use to kind of massage all the goop out of it and whatever. And this is what I use to dry it on. So just save that for a painting rag. But yeah, so that went really well. I think it looks great. Yeah, simple green would work too. I think so. Yeah. Um, I'm never been in a situation where I've had like easy access to simple green. I've just never needed it for whatever reason. Um, so yeah, so there's that. That's cool. Now I wonder because I've got a ton of just weird stuff. So I actually have one of the old Citadel Urban basing kits where they actually gave you just like base toppers and slate and crap like that. So I still have all of these. They're fantastic. Little photo etched, skulls and stuff like that. It's fine. I don't know why. I don't know. So I've got, the slate ballast here, which is actually really nice. It's really nice. It's really nice, neat. And then you have chunks of slate, and then for I don't know why this is this is damn near a decade old, so I couldn't tell you why I did half the stuff that I did with this. But you can take these little slabs of slate and glue it to the base or whatnot. So I might do something special for him since he's whatchamacallit, a premium miniature. So yeah, we'll see about that. So, let's see. So I guess just in general, so I got my little Stormcrow fella put together. Feeling pretty good about that. And then I don't know if you guys saw that video. I made a terrible financial decision and bought that Kill Team box, that Warhammer 40K Kill Team. Um, I kind of like it. Like, I hate to say that because I know that it's like this is the cheap first hit that gets you hooked into the ecosystem, right? And next, I'm gonna be doing sketchy stuff for a fiver behind the local gas station so I can afford my next GW fix, right? But this is good because it's like you can buy one box of dudes and like the cards to go with them. And they have a really nice app that actually keeps the rules up to date. And you're just like, okay, if this is how far I want to expand my experience, that's how far I want to expand my experience. So um, it helps that the miniatures that they included in the starter set are actually really really nice, and they're easy to put together. So we got that. So we got the Space Marine Captain. I went with helmets because Space Marines not wearing helmets is stupid to me. And I did that they're good models. These are actually the Space Marine Hero miniatures that were put out in kind of like a gotcha blind box thing that they did for a while over in Asia. And they're just like, okay, well, we've got these miniatures. They look really good. They look like a kill team, so we're going to make a kill team. So they put them in a little kill team book. So this book right here isn't actually the full set of rules. It's actually just like, okay, this is Babby's first, war game. This is how you get into, playing it, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like, that's fine. The introduction stuff is really nice. It works well. It's full color. It's like reading a White Dwarf. You know, I actually remember my high school library for some reason we had a subscription to White Dwarf, and like me and my buddies, we would in middle school we would see these things, and we were just like, what is all this nonsense? What is all this crazy weirdness? So what's funny? So let's contrast that, shall we? So we're talking about Kill Team. So it's like you get this box. Worst case scenario, you pay 100 MSRP. MSRP on this box is 112 bucks US. Okay, worst case scenario. It's terrible. I'm out 112 bucks. Holy crap! This is just a starter thing. I'm gonna have to buy more and more and more and more to get into this. Oh, it's terrible. Then you have Halo Flashpoint, which I believe the Spartan edition is kind of like the big like official like all in type starter set. I believe right now it's like 139 because they had to adjust for like tariffs because it's manufactured in China. It's from Mantic Games, and this isn't like, hey kid, the first taste is free. It's actually like, hey, here's your game, play it or not. You bought the brother in Christ, you made the sandwich. Play the game or don't. Mantic got paid on it either way. So the miniatures look really good. The rules are really tight. They actually, um, they actually are based off of Mantic's Dead Zone rules, and Dead Zone actually is like it's like Timu 40K, where it's like Timu 40K Kill Team. At least that's how it's funny. That's how like Mantic stuff always originally started. It was kind of like this off-brand version of GW because Ronnie Renton, the guy that founded the company, was an old GW employee. So like his thing was like, hey, all that awful crap that GW does, yeah, let's not do that. And they've been going like a decade or more. They've been they put out their own hard plastic kits. They do their own thing. It's really cool. But Flashpoint's a lot of fun. It's like I said, it's grid based movement. It's not super heavy. Um, the rules are pretty clear cut. It's funny. These two games are actually quite alike in a lot of aspects because like the guns in this one have. Let's see if I can find. Yeah, so they have the keywords, and then the keywords do a certain thing other than your stats, and then you have keywords on the guns, and then each guy has kind of its own thing. So the way that this book works is you kind of have like a core stat line for like an assault intercessor, right? So you have an assault intercessor, he does a thing, and then for this you have like a Spartan brawler. Which one costs less? I got Kill Team from a local game store near me called Michigan Toy Soldier, which is a fantastic place. Literally, if you ever need anything like painting, finishing, model tools, any of that stuff, if you can't find it at Michigan Toy Soldier, you probably don't need it to paint. Um, I got this because they do 20% off GW stuff every day. I got this for about 89 bucks. I got this for about 89 bucks. This I pre-ordered direct from Mantic because I wanted to get the Master Chief, because if you pre-order direct from Mantic, you get the Master Chief. Fine. So this was 120, 125. Yeah, that's one of these days I'm going to get back to a con. The last two conventions I went to were both Games Workshop Games Days. They were the last two that I think they ever had in the United States. Um, if I can find it, I met Alan Bly, and for the old heads amongst us, Alan Bly was the guy that actually was responsible for writing the Horus Heresy tabletop rule books they called the Black Books. Basically, they were these giant faux leather bound black leather bound tomes with uh like really nice stainless steel cleats on the corners, and the pages were gild edged. Um, They were fantastic, fantastic books. Such an interesting resource, such just incredible. And Alan Bly gave me a button. So I still remember that interaction because everybody was at the Forge World table. They were doing trying to get their Forge World stuff because you couldn't hardly get it here in the United States, right? So there was a line like almost to the entrance for Forge World, and there Alan Bly sat at the author's table at the Forge World author's table, and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Dr. Banzai. I'm government name Dr. Banzai. How you doing?" He goes, "Hey, he's really nice, kind, fascinating dude." And we talked for about 10 minutes, just uninterrupted because there was nobody else around. And then like the penny kind of dropped that people figured out who he was, and he got a lot more popular. Um, so that's a tangent. Um, so I think short term this is actually going to be cheaper than this because this is not the full rule book. This is a starter book. It says it on the front. They're quite literal about that. Um, you can play the game off of, well, no, I guess you really can't. Um, you can play a lot of the aspects of Kill Team off the Kill Team app, but it's not a full experience. And then you have Halo Flashpoint where I give Manta Games, I think the current MSRP on it because of tariffs and whatnot is like 139, and you give them 139 bucks. That's it. This is the game that you get. Now they do have expansions, and I think my ass was a little raw. My ass was a little chapped about this. Not gonna lie. Oh, my dehumidifier turned off. Um, is they came out with this expansion called War Games, which is basically like where you have an established like a point structure. Because previously in this version, you take out unit cards and you basically do a draft. You draft a team based off of the unit cards. So like you take the cards and then your opponent grabs some and you grab some, and whatever's on the cards, that's it. With this actually gives you a true like points list building, aspect to it. So you can actually say, okay, well, so my base character is going to be Spartan Brawler with the bulldog shotgun, and then okay, what do you want him to have on it? Well, I want to give him a combat knife, and then I'm going to throw in. I'm going to give him M41. So it's like you tell it points up, and then so you have like a team total that you're building to, and all that stuff. So I would posit that they should have just put this right here in the game manual, but then they can sell you the new miniatures with the new stuff. So it's like, okay, you got to make your nut somehow. It's just it feels less predatory than Games Workshop because every time you do something with Games Workshop, you're always looking for the barb in the hook, right? So you're looking for the barbed hook and the bait they give you. They're like, hey kid, look at this game. Hey kid, you like this game? It's real easy to get into. It's cheap box. It's cheap box. And then gotcha. you they then all of a sudden you're $500 deep into a quote unquote skirmish game, and you've had to remortgage your house. So um Flashpoint doesn't do that. Like the expansions that they give you are truly value adds. So I think upfront cost to get started in Flashpoint is a little bit higher than this, but at the same time, like this is gonna, I guarantee you, this is gonna get you more. This is gonna kill you in this game's gonna kill you in the long run, long before this one does. They're actually releasing a new expansion this month for the Banished faction, which is the which is the the antagonist from Halo Infinite, because that's the other thing about this game. I think a lot of players had it in their head. They're like, "Oh, Halo. I want this. I want this to be Halo Reach. I want this to be Halo 3. I want this to be Halo 1, 2." It's basically all the aesthetics and the troops and the factions are based off of Halo Infinite. But I think that's kind of a good thing because Halo Infinite went backwards in a lot of ways with the designs of their of the they can't call them the Covenant anymore, but but the Covenant. I'm just going to call them the Covenant. I know they're called the Banished. I'm just calling them the Covenant. You know, so they kind of have that going on. So it's like, okay, that's cool. That's interesting. Um, uh, so I think it's good for the future of both Halo Infinite and also Halo Flashpoint because it's like it gives you that excuse to have those models like the Sangheili, the elites, like the brutes that even though their armor most of the time is couched very much in the design language of the couched in the design language um, of Halo Infinite, you can still see that, like, okay, yeah, no, these are brutes from Halo 3. At the end of Halo 3, the brutes. So that's fine. Um, yeah, no, GW does that. That was the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about because apparently GW just crapped the bed with their um Horus Heresy 3.0 because they did the thing they said the line they were like, hey, your army's not going to be invalidated in Horus Heresy 3.0, and then all the rule books leaked online, and like everybody who was an existing player of Horus Heresy 2.0, their armies were like gutted, especially guys where they were like really destroyer heavy because that unit type, the destroyer unit type, which is basically like Space Marines with dual pistols and like a bunch of like rad grenades and stuff like that. Basically, like really horrific nonsense. They went away. They disappeared. Sorry. We can't monetize these. We're not going to make a plastic hit. We're not going to let you buy it in resin. So uh, too too bad, so sad. You can't have those anymore. And apparently, there's just a bunch of like really weird like editorial stuff that they just forgot. So, like for example, they sell miniatures for Terminators that are called the Tartaros and the Cataphracti. The not the new ones, not the Saturnine with the giant that are all shoulder um that are all shoulder pads. Um, so those ones apparently, you guys still hear me? Just talking to myself. Okay, well we'll proceed as if I can because my left headphone died for some reason. So, um, we had like so they did the meme right. They were like, oh no, we totally. Oh okay, cool. Thanks for pointing, man. So they were like, hey, you can still play your army. And long story short, they removed a ton of options that are like really weird options. For example, like the base Terminators, like the Cataphracti and the Tartaros, the existing ones, they can't have power fists, which is funny because that's literally the only weapon option they give you on the sprue for those. So it's like, huh, what did GW mean by that? Apparently, the Iron Hand Gorgon Terminators, they don't have their bolters listed, even though the models quite clearly have bolters on them. So it's just like it's a combination of like either like they missed this in editorial, which is just shameful. Like if I'm gonna throw a low. I'm gonna throw a shot here at Catalyst Game Labs, but I expect that from Catalyst because it's three guys in a trench coat pretending to be a company, and they have like some contractors that they barely pay, along with a bunch of fans doing stuff like that for the game, to for their editorials and stuff like that. But it's like that's GW is literally
traded on a stock exchange. Like, bro, you can't have like two or three extra passes to make sure that one of your biggest releases of the year, arguably, is not gonna fall flat on its face. So I don't know. For me, it's like it's very much like, okay, this is an odd series of it's a lot of like own goals. Not a nah, own goals is kind of a bad way to put it, but like self owns, which is, I don't know. It feels odd that it has to happen that way. So, and out of curiosity, I wanted to take a look at these guys together. So you can see this one's higher because the leg is actually extended higher. You can see the profile, the miniature is actually identical. It's really quite sharp. This guy's got the gun in the head, so that's why he doesn't have the. This guy right here doesn't have one because all of his guns are packed in the arms, which is spicy if you lose a side torso, especially as a clanner. But yeah, so yeah, I'm happy with that. So it's just, Games Workshop is just making these really weird editorial mistakes. So I don't have the old metal handy. So my saga of getting started back with BattleTech was back when Harebrained Schemes actually first came out with their BattleTech game. And I was watching gameplay online. I played it a little bit, and I was like, "Oh man, this is great." I used to hesitate to say play BattleTech, but I used to play the MechWarrior Dark Age Clicks game. That was my first interaction with BattleTech as an actual like competitive, not competitive, but like a tabletop game. Like I had the TROs, I had the record sheets and stuff like that previously in some miniatures, but they either got lost or destroyed or something happened to them where I didn't have them anymore. So I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. And then Catalyst came out with the new Game of Armored Combat box. Let's see if I can fish that out. So they came out with the new Game of Armored Combat box, and then I'm like, okay, that's really cool. And this got me hooked, and I was playing. This code doesn't work, by the way. Spoiler alert. I don't know why I still have it. But yeah, so I was like, man, this is awesome. This is the best thing since sliced bread. And I found a group in my local area, and I played the hell out of it. I was just had a really good time. So I don't know where the. That's funny. Whatever. They had their half record sheets in here, or no, that was the other box, the beginner's box. So I got this first, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's amazing. This is great. And I found a group, and we started playing. We had a really good time. And we were just digging it, right? It was a good time because nobody knew just how bad things were gonna get with Catalyst. So everybody was like, "Yeah, this is cool, whatever." They're putting out some new-ish books, trying to bring the Ill Clan era up, and then the Mercenaries box came up. It took a year for the minis to come out. Yeah, I believe that. It's funny that one of my videos I posted was actually about the transition from Ironwind Metals from being Raw Partha to Ironwind Metals, and then Catalyst buying them. So there was a lot of. I remember a lot of people at the local store when I was a kid. The doc is back. Yeah. Well, this is my first live stream, and so far it's not a total disaster. My left headphone died, so that's strike number one. Hopefully, my right headphone doesn't die. My right AirPod doesn't die. Um, so, uh, so you had fat catapult. We're on our arms glued on. Based. Um, so we were playing the game. The Mercenaries Kickstarter came out. That was a good time. We had a fun time. With that, when those miniatures finally hit, I was one of the first people to bedevil my group with power armor with elementals, and it was meta breaking for my local group because they were just like, they can do what? They can do what? So, and then and we're like, oh, okay, cool. This is neat. This poorly painted smoke jaguars. They're not too bad actually. I'm not. They're all right. I think there's a little bit I can probably the next round of miniatures that I do if I can kind of church up a little bit. So, but yeah, I like the elementals. I think if I do say so myself, I think I did a good job on the elementals because they're just focus. There we go. So, um, so yeah, that was kind of the main thing with that is so we started playing that and we were having a good time, and then they expanded into the L Clan era, and then they dropped the mercenaries, the mercenaries Kickstarter, and that and naturally Catalyst said, "Excuse me, Dr. Banzai, your money is no good here." So that was kind of a little bit of a dick in the eye, but so it was what it was. Luckily, I have a benefactor, a wealthy benefactor, for lack of a better term, where he was like, "Hey man, what do you want?" 85. I was born in 85, so I only started playing BattleTech when I was like 90 something, 93. Oh, Solomon, you've not heard the story. Yes, story time. Excellent. So, long time ago. So basically, Catalyst. So I backed the Clan Invasion Kickstarter. That went well. I stayed out of the comments because Kickstarter comments are cancer. This is known, right? So I so we were there. Everybody was hyped. I'm like, okay, I backed at I think it was the captain or whatever it was, the $150 level. So I backed at the 150 level. I had all my purchases planned out. I'm just like, okay, the money's going to come out of my account on this day. I have set this money on fire. If this doesn't come through, I am comfortable with taking the loss. And checking the updates, and they showed a video of one of their international partner, their this Liya International, LIYA International, that does their manufacturing for their BattleTech miniatures overseas. And what you saw is like a assembly line of people with like mech parts, and then like a partially assembled mech would come across like on this little conveyor belt, and they'd grab a guy and say, yeah, Liya, yeah, so this Chinese slave shop. So that it looked like a Chinese slave shop. Yeah, exactly. So I made two comments on that Kickstarter. I commented one that, hey, Catalyst is getting real bold, just showing off their slave labor. That was comment one. My second comment was after they announced the Catalyst, this first Somerset Strikers box, that they were going to do the first Somerset Strikers miniature box. And I said on that post, I said, redo the first Somerset Strikers book, you cowards. So between me calling them out on their Chinese slave labor and calling them cowards because they didn't redo the first Somerset Strikers book, one of those two comments got me banned. So I got an email saying, hey, your pledge has been canceled, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, something happened with my account. It's like that it's not time for the money to come out. I checked my money was good. And based. Never ask a woman her age, never ask a man his salary, never ask Lauren Coleman how much money he's put into his porch lately. So between those two comments, I got kicked from the Kickstarter. So I was checking everything, and I went back to the email. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And it said, the Kickstarter trust and safety team, which is they neither made me safe nor made me trust them. They were like, hey, because of your comments on the Kickstarter went against their policies, or because it made the people running the Kickstarter upset, you're no longer able to back that pledge. I'm like, and so I was like, okay, the two comments, which one was it? Probably not the Somerset Strikers one. Based, yeah, nice. That's actually what happened with me. Is I had this benefactor who had backed at the Kerensky level, and he said, "Hey, what do you need?" Okay, I basically gave him the money for a Kickstarter, and it worked out really well for me. So after that, it was one of those things where it was just like, you hear about people being quote unquote canceled, or like bad things happening to, like, oh, this company won't let them do business with them anymore, blah blah blah. And it's like, that shit's made up. That's not real. It's people aren't that stupid and petty. And then, like, whoops, huh, I guess they are. So my genuine reaction, once I had figured out what was, sorry, humidifiers on the struggle bus, dehumidifiers on the struggle bus. I laughed. Once the penny kind of dropped, that, like, oh my god, I said something that was so offensive to these people that they canceled my pledge. And I just started laughing. This happened in the middle of the day. I work from home. At the time it happened, I was still married. My ex-wife was upstairs trying to do some work, and she comes down because she was working from home too. So, or the ship into the reef. Yeah, yeah. The miniatures are great. That's one of the things I won't take away from the fact that they have dragged, especially in lieu of how many people are just, people fleeing the GW business model and whatnot. The fact that there's a lot of people, kind of jumping ship for greener pastures, not just like breaking the conditioning, right? They're breaking the GW conditioning, because GW does this really insidious thing of like, we are the hobby. And it's like, no, you are Games Workshop. Warhammer is a mere function of, miniatures wargaming. So I really enjoy. Oh, you're good, man. You're good. Solomon, that's good. So, anyways, I started laughing. I was howling laughing. I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe that they canceled my pledge. And my ex wife came down and she was like, "What's so funny?" And I said, "You wouldn't understand even if I told you." So I had a good hard belly laugh about that. Just the genuine absurdity of Catalyst being that petty and vindictive, against somebody that was like, hey, why is this, instead of you could have, there's so many different ways. Like, I took business communication a lot in college. I had like 3 or 4 courses, and it's like, it's not that hard. It's like, hey, we understand your concern. We've looked at this vendor. We've done our research. There's all sorts of things that they could have done to basically torpedo my salacious and funny one liner, but instead they took it hard. So, being a community organizer or marketing director, couldn't sell a cheeseburger to a bunch of starving people. Well, she wouldn't sell cheeseburger to a bunch of starving people because she probably ate them all. Waka waka. Um, so, just the genuine absurdity of somebody being, so paper thin, especially a company of all things. Like, they can say, hey, that's really not cool. These, we work with this partner. They've done right by us before. We know they pay their workers with a living wage, whatever that means. They could have. There's any number of things that they could have said to diffuse that, and they fucking didn't. So it was genuinely quite amusing to watch them, you know, just watch them, kind of try to squash the noise around me getting my pledge canceled after I dropped that bomb. And then uh what was the sequence of? And then I just kind of went rogue and I started making fun of them. Started, doing the whole like meme BattleTech thing, making more memes, being, more, probably a little bit meaner than I needed to be. But these people don't deserve my respect. Dr. Banzai, Mage Leader, Razorfest paint stream. Mage, it's funny. I used to be in a Discord with Mage. It was Hell Memory Core. It was the Everything BattleTech server. Holy crap! I had whew. Roast CGL. It's not like it's hard. No, no, absolutely not. But it's funny because you look at how do I Helma's gone to shit. My brother in Christ, it's been that way for a really long time, at least by my perception. So I'm gonna kind of spill the tea a little bit. So for a while there was like a containment channel of people that were kind of like diehard in BattleTech that was private for everybody. That was private to the Gen Pop, and then if you were based or whatever metric, you would get in, right? And it was basically like free for all. Um, and my experience in that server was always negative. It was not fun, and I fed into some of that negativity because I was like, I don't know, this is people are talking shit. I'll talk shit. I don't know. This is fine. Um, and then that led me down a couple of really weird rabbit holes, and it got to the point where I ended up someplace where I'm like, huh, I don't think these guys are joking, fellas. So I had to dip out of there, like post haste. So, so for me, it's like this whole like arc of mine has been one big huge wild ride. And I'm ready to get off of Mr. Bones' wild ride sometimes. But I really enjoyed. This is actually a lot of fun. I thought this was going to be awkward and stilted, and that I would have to work a lot harder. But no, obviously, I would love to get an official stream set up. I'm doing this from my cell phone. I would love to be able to get a laptop or a computer of some sort so I can do this like legitimately in the evenings, because I think that would be a good time. But in general, this has been it's been all right. It's been pretty cool. I like it. Let's see. Ooh, pardon me. Let's see. I'm not thinking of any other topics of the day to discuss. So we've talked about CGL. We've talked about Rem being fat. We've talked about uh, Games Workshop, Breaking Horus Heresy. We've talked about my quote unquote cancellation. I use that with extra strength quote marks because it's absurd. So my time in Hell Memory Core, which was wild. No, no. The thing that I'm BattleTech Gothic, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one that's like, you spilled 40K in my BattleTech, and it's like, bro, like stop. Because here's the thing, right? So allegedly, so from what I understand, the live streams that they've done at like Adepticon and Origins and whatnot, they've shown off the miniatures. The miniatures are physically bigger than their counterparts for the game. So like like the Atlas, it's not just like the silly hat that makes it look taller on some of the head sculpts. It's actually physically dimensionally larger, and so is the Marauder, and so is the Urban Mech, so, and the King Crab. And it's like, still don't have a champion, Osiris or Xeon Plastic, but they're putting them. Yeah, no, exactly. There's like that was, I think that was the joke that I made with the Urban Mech Lamb. I'm like, You could have given us a lamb, like an actual. So you can get your click tech again. Yeah. So it's fun. You know what? I hate that that sounds correct, but the BattleTech Gothic miniatures, especially the Atlas, it does have a shine of Dark Age clicks about it. The If anybody remembers the Dark Age clicks, what was his name? Derek Hasbani. That was the unique sculpt, and he had like, oh, his skulls and spikes. It's like, what do the spikes do? Nothing, but it looks cool. Oh, they are the same size. Okay, because I had heard a couple of people say that the miniatures were dimensionally larger than the standard. So that's good that's not the case. So that's good to hear. Let's see. So we talked about BattleTech Gothic. I think that if you could have absolutely made these crazy. Oh, Crimson Skies, my love. Yeah, exactly. Bring back Crimson Skies. Um, but my thoughts on BattleTech Gothic is you could have made it like some crazy ass deep periphery weirdness, and nobody would have batted the eye. Um, Nobody would have said anything. They would just be like, "Hey, this is some crazy deep periphery stuff. The mechs are Gucci'd out." It's like, have you ever seen the field manual periphery cover? It's got a banshee, and it's got like a hatchet and it's got a hunchback in the foreground, and its fist is replaced by like hooks and stuff. Yeah, exactly. You have Pirate Kingdom. Like you could have done that, and you say, hey, here's these wacky periphery mechs, and here's a bunch of bandit kings and bandit princes, and it's like here's some campaign stuff to run a game in the deep periphery. It's like, oh my god, let's go. Let me grab my shoes, I'll grab my coat, we'll drive to the store, I'll drop a C note on this, right? But no, Catalyst is like, hey kids, you like 40K? That's funny. You also like Battletech? What's Battletech? Well, I've got the game for you. It's like you're trying to entice the 40K crowd. Yeah, that would be the only thing I could see myself like if they offered the miniatures in like a separate box, like a reinforcements type box. Planet of the Dog people, someone be ashamed to put an asteroid into it. Here's the thing: if they were made in God's image, we wouldn't drop an asteroid on them, but they're not. So you pays your money, you takes your chances, doggo. um, I don't know. So it's. I think I saw one of those memory TV memes where it was like it was a Xeon officer. He was like, "Strap me to a colony and hurl me at Australia." So, um, but yeah, no. So it's just wild, the whole like the stuff that happens with BattleTech, and the fact that they thought that pivoting to you know this gothic style. It's like you can't replicate this. You can try, but you're not going to be GW. You can apply the grimdark pastiche to something, but you're not going to be Warhammer 40K, right? You're just not. Probably one of my biggest criticisms of currently Trench Crusade is they kind of missed the point. It's because the thing about 40K, it's very tongue in cheek, and a lot of times a lot of its interactions, it doesn't get sucked up into the whole too much into the despair of the overall settings, because there's just funny shit that happens in 40K sometimes, like the famous the orcs, especially that where it's like the orcs jump into the warp to go on a wah. They jump out of the warp, and because of time travel shenanigans, they end up right before where they started. So the boss grinds to a halt as the original war boss finds his younger self so he can kill him and get another copy of his favorite gun. Like that to me is 40K. It's like, oh my god, this is terrible, and this is, millions of people dying. It's like, yeah, but it's kind of absurd too. It's very English humor in that way, and you just can't. Sorry, Catalyst, you're just not doing it with BattleTech Gothic. Like, it's like it's the same criticism I would level at Trench Crusade. It's like, okay, it's grim, it's dark, but it kind of misses the point to where it's all Trench Crusade is. It's very pizza cutter. It's all edge, no point, right? It's like everything is bloody and awful and sacrifice and demons and bleh. And it's like, bro, this is depressing. I don't want to play this shit. Like, I want to play Death Guard with their silly nurgling buddies. Like, I want to play Space Marines and commit space racism. Like, that's the thing about 40K is it doesn't take itself very seriously, and I think that's one of the few things that people don't get. I have not read Strange Company. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible person because I haven't been reading much outside of like source books for a really long time. So I need to get back on the stick. Somebody actually, speaking of Horus Heresy, something that they did really well is I had a friend of mine. He gifted me a bunch of White Scar's Horus Heresy books because he's a White Scar fan. And holy crap, the audio books that they did for those was mwah, magnificent, pitch perfect, amazing. So for me, it's like, so I don't know. So those are the last things that I've digested, and they were audio books. So like I want to go out and I want to buy a physical book, and I want to read the physical book because right now all my shit is on e-reader, and it's like that's fine, but it's like I was on sitting on my couch and I was looking at these, right, because these are kind of like the unit cards, and you know what I did, because I'm so used to looking at stuff on an e-reader. I literally was like, oh, what model is this? I literally did this on a piece of paper, and then I stopped and I had like a mild panic attack. Like, oh my God, have I turned into an adult iPad kid? Like, I was deeply uncomfortable for like 10 minutes. A fight over a potato field. Yeah, no, I believe it. Yeah, right? It's just like, it's like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, this is a really detailed picture. And then you're just like, you have this existential crisis where it's like, maybe I do need to touch grass. So I don't know. So yeah, it's been. I need to get back into reading books, or at least get like an Audible subscription so I can get a free book per month and just a free credit per month, and slowly go over back to the Horus Heresy books. Fun fact: I had a huge library of the original Horus Heresy, first run Horus Heresy books, the actual novels themselves, and I loaned them to my girlfriend at the time, and we broke up, and she was like, "Hey, do you want those books back?" And I'm like, "Nah, you can keep them." And now I'm thinking to myself, "You're a dumbass. You should have said no, woman. Give me those books back." So I don't know. Oh, I'm trying to, like, this is boring. Y'all are just probably staring at my cutting mat, listening to me rant like a psychopath. So I actually, showing off, might as well show off this. This is a Raider. This is a very quintessentially Dark Age miniature. It's a quintessentially Dark Age mech. Basically, the story goes, you have a billionaire like named Jacob Banson, and is obviously he's kind of like he's kind of like he's like a Richard Branson type tech billionaire guy back before, you know, Elon was a thing. So they say he was like I want to build a mech, and he couldn't get the licenses or the rights for a proper fusion engine. So somehow this guy with access to actual full scale functioning battle mechs, and like he was like a trillionaire basically in the Republic of the Sphere, couldn't couldn't figure out how to build a fusion plant. Press X to doubt, but okay. So what they did is they created this mech called the Raider, and this was actually a fan finance project that I helped launch. At least I'm probably taking unjust credit for it, but basically it was well, yeah, no, true and real. So basically, it was like, hey, if you fan finance this thing, we'll give you store credit for it. Ironwood Metals will give you store credit for it. So I'm like, cool. So I use my store credit to buy two copies of this, and these are hilarious because they have, so you can see they have just a standard like diesel engine, and then he has a Rack 2 or an MRM 30. I have one built, if I can find it in my case here. But the MR, and the thing is too, so it's an ICE engine, right? It's an ICE engine, right? So yeah, here we go. I'm surprised this thing's held up as well. Oh yeah, I was doing the 2-part epoxy, and that's probably why it's held up so well. So this is him with the MRM. So I'm probably going to do him with the rack too. So the thing about it was like there's no heat sinks in the ICE engine, right? So like a standard, fusion engine, rules construction wise, you just get 10 heat sinks, and then there's a certain amount of heat sinks that have to, depending on engine size, stays in the engine, or you have to find crit space for them around the mech. Okay, fine, whatever. These things don't have built-in engine sinks. They don't have like 10 heat sinks that automatically come with the engine. So what these geniuses, these actual brain trust billionaire kids did is they gave it triple strength myomer and like 2 heat sinks, so that you can kind of ride the red line as you're using your weapons, because every time you use a weapon you generate heat. But conversely, if you move, you don't generate heat. It's been a while, but I believe that's how ice engines work on mechs. So it's like, okay, that's certainly an odd set of choices. So ultimately, what you have is you have this mech that's rolling coal, that rolls up to an opponent, an objective, whatever. Oh, why is it like that? Am I dumb? Oh no, that might need to be. Oh, that's okay. That should be dimpled, but it's not. All right, we'll have to do some surgery on this at a later date. This might be the next live stream as I build this, as I clean and build this thing. So you basically have this mech that has more weapons that it can sink, along with triple strength myomer. So it basically runs around with these pathetic weapons and like a little bit of armor, a decent-ish amount of armor, and just annoys people and makes nuisance of itself. It's a really strange bird. So you have, like I said, you have the Rack 2. Oh yeah, that's why I'm an idiot. So this actually, okay, so that's the torso, and then this is where the engine goes on the back. Okay. All right. And then you have the Rack 2, which is that's some BDE energy right there. Look at that. So you have this mech with dual saws, by the way, and it has a winch. Why does it have a winch? I don't know. So you have this mech that runs around flinging weak ass weapons at people, can't hit for nothing, etc., etc. And it's like under 1,000 BV. It's like 890 BV or something ridiculous. Um, and it's available to pretty much like everybody in the Dark Age, which is kind of one of the things that I like about Dark Age is that it's just like, will this work? I don't know. Let's try it and find out. Um, so yeah, we'll have to turn. This will be another live stream. We'll have to figure out what to paint those guys as. Because I remember back in the day, you would have the various different factions from BattleTech in the Dark Age Clicks game with all sorts of wacky vehicles and tanks, and that's where I think you kind of get the genesis for the crazy uh, clan intersphere mixed designs is a lot of those is basically FanPro who took up the torch from FASA when they went under, and they were kind of managing the classic BattleTech brand for uh, to keep it alive, or what we would call Total Warfare, to keep it alive while WizKids did their best to kill BattleTech again with Dark Age clicks, and they were responsible for backfilling the lore for the Jihad as well as front, filling back in the lore for the Dark Ages. So a lot of the miniatures that they made for that game, there was just like well, you've seen them. I wish I had some here, but I think I sold them all a long time ago. But they were basically BattleTech Gothic looking mechs. They were spiky. They had all sorts of greebles all over the place. Just all this unnecessary nonsense, right? And it's like, why on earth would they do that? And then it's a matter of like, well, I don't know, it looks cool. So these poor people at FanPro had the unenviable job of um, trying to unscrew the the lore, or trying to unscrew these random designs with these random barrels sticking out all over the place. So that was, yeah. So Dark Age was interesting. I liked Dark Age in concept because it was very much like, oh, we have this polyethnic super state with like shades of Roman senates and controls and whatnot. What could possibly go wrong? And it just implodes and it starts to balkanize, and it's like, whoa, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. But also, one of the things I get a lot of credit for is bringing vehicles into kind of common conversation, even though the way that they were handled in that game were kind of poo poo. Um, yeah. So, uh, yeah. That's pretty much all I had. This actually went about 20 minutes longer than I was anticipating. So, everybody, thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the support. Let me know in the comments in the VOD what you guys, if you guys have like any topics that you want me to talk about. I can create a run sheet for myself. I can try to kind of get on a schedule to kind of talk and be interesting to you guys, not just like talking at a wall. um, so looking forward to your next review. So that's the thing. I since I got back, so I'm not on. My financial situation is stable, but it's doesn't leave a lot of room. So what I will ask you guys to do, if you want to help me do further reviews, uh, I would suggest donating to my Ko-fi. I think the minimum donation is $5. So if you can spare toss a coin to your Witcher. That's all I would ask you guys to do. I'm not good at this whole begging thing. It feels unnatural, but I want to continue to produce good content for you guys, and I want to be able to make it so that you guys are looking more at something more interesting consistently than my cutting mat. So And if you guys want to do that, that's ko-fi.com/Dr. Banzai. Um, and I appreciate you guys coming to pay me a visit. I really enjoyed this. This live streaming thing is a lot of fun. So again, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have a great night.